templates are going to make everything faster because that's really what templates do. To access the template editor, you can go to several places. You can go to the cataloging menu. That is almost never the place that I go to, but you can do it, and it's going to bring you directly to the template editor. And if you want to spend some hours just setting up high quality templates for your different collections in your library, that is highly recommended that you do that, because if you have your templates established, then when you get to actually adding holdings, you don't have to take time out and go back and either create templates, which you can do, or do each individual item that you're doing in a manual basis. The thing about doing them individually, there's nothing wrong with it, but it also does introduce the opportunity for more error. And having templates removes a little bit of that and sets you up to have standardized behaviors within your collections as well. So from the cataloging menu, and then you can also access it from the holdings editor, and we looked at that. We saw the place just a moment ago. So once you are in the template editor, you have some options. You can create new templates. And so we're going to go through 3 different workflows for this. You can create new templates by starting from scratch. So what you'll do is you'll go into the templates editor, you're going to select and or enter all of the appropriate settings. Within here, you have many options. And then up where it says template, and there's a field there, you're going to enter a unique template name. And I say that that's an old workflow. You may actually just click on save, and then it opens a modal for you to enter a name there, a unique template name. I have that there, but again, you may just click on save now. I should have clicked that button now that I'm second guessing myself a little bit. But you save it. Make sure you save it. The next option that you have is to create a new template using one that has already been established. So in this case, you're going to select the existing template from the drop-down. And then you're going to click apply to populate those settings. Then you're going to edit the appropriate settings. And then you're going to, again, enter a unique template name and save it. You also have the option to edit existing templates. You're going to select the template from the drop-down, click apply to populate the settings, edit the appropriate settings. Obviously, this is repeating a lot of the same thing from the other steps. With this one difference here, enter the exact same template name and save the template, and that's going to overwrite what it was before. So you are, in actuality, creating a new template when you're editing, but you're overwriting it, so you're not ending up with 2 files, you're ending up with 1 file. So the other thing that you can do, and I have not used this extensively in production, I've played with it a fair amount, but I haven't used it to make my workflows more efficient. It may or may not be appropriate to you, is that you can go into the defaults for what shows up when you're in the working item. So by ticking or unticking these boxes, you can edit what shows up when you are then editing your item attributes. There are several recommended settings for this, and by recommended, some of them are required to make your collections actually work in Evergreen. And then some of them are actually just recommended because it makes for good information. So within this screen, you have circulate, the circulation library. The circulation library is going to be populated with whatever your workstation is set up as, your location, but you may need to change that depending on if perhaps you're cataloging for another branch within your system, or you need it to be at the system level for whatever reason. That is a very nuanced thing, but so it's going to default not to Evergreen, Indiana, but to your workstation location, but you may need to change that. The shelving location. The circulation modifier is one of those recommended required things, as is the shelving location. Loan duration, that's going to default to normal, but there may be some nuances to that based on what type of item, what collection you're looking at, where you may want to select short or long as the loan duration. It is important to consult the circulation matrix in this case, because short does not always mean shorter than normal. Long does not always mean longer than short or normal. Those were labels that were set up when Evergreen, Indiana was new, and things have been added in. And so please consult the circulation matrix to see what those durations actually are, whether they're 3 days, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 7 days, 14 days. Is the item holdable or not? Depending on what it is, it may not be. Does it need to have age protection on it? So meaning it will only be available to your local library patrons for a certain amount of time from when the holding was added to that. Not necessarily when the record was created, not when the item was published, but when that holding was added to that. The fine level, again, there aren't a whole lot of fine levels. There's normal, and then I believe the other is enhanced or something like that. You'll consult the circulation matrix for that as well. Is it reference, yes or no? If it is set as reference, it's not going to be able to circulate. You won't be able to check it out or hold it. So there has been a decided decrease in the amount of reference collections, but there may still be reference items. Can you see it in the OPAC? You'll always be able to see it in the staff side of it, but can patrons see it in the OPAC? How much did it cost? This is something that is also how this is configured. This is often a local thing, but this is going to be the amount that a patron is charged, not counting any reprocessing or overdue fines, but the actual price of the item that a patron will be charged if they lose it or it's damaged. So some libraries put in their actual cost. Others put in the actual cost on the item, the MSRP, so to speak. Others round it to the nearest whole dollar or the nearest 25 cents or whatever. That's a local decision what goes in there, but it is highly recommended that you do add in there. There is a default price in Evergreen. I believe it's $10 an item, but if you have an item that maybe your library paid $25 for and the MSRP on it is $49.99, $10 really is not going to be particularly helpful. So I would highly recommend that you add some price that's reflective of the actual value of that item. It also can help when your administration are doing their fixed asset report, depending on how they do that. Audience is a required field, obviously. And then the other that is recommended because it goes into reports that for the state library and possibly for the IMLS are fiction or nonfiction. And that's also something that can help in some searches. So we've been in the holdings templates, and you've established some of those. So that then when you go in to add your holdings, you can access then those templates, and you can see in this example that there are a few in here. There's the youth video discs for the consortial collection. There's mysteries apparently for Spiceland. Obviously, this was this is a training account that was used in multiple ways. In this case, we have the State Library browsing collection template that is there. And then when we click apply, rather than having to go through each of those attributes, they're going to be pre-filled in that in the edit item attributes